We tend to look at office walls and just see walls. They're just structural, right? Passive. But what if that's all wrong? What if our interior spaces are in the middle of this quiet revolution, turning from just simple decoration into, well, mission-critical communication systems? It really makes you ask the question, are your office walls actually doing their job? Or are they quietly underperforming? Looking tired and worn out just a few months after you spent a ton of money on them? For a lot of businesses, this is a way bigger and more expensive problem than you might think. And the difference between the old way and the new way, it is just night and day. On one side, you have all the classic problems, peeling vinyl, annoying seams, and installations that are super disruptive and wasteful. And on the other, a feature that's totally integrated, really durable, and incredibly fast. This is a huge leap, a fundamental change in how we should be thinking about our physical spaces. So, here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll kick things off with the main problem with office walls today, and then we'll dig into why the traditional methods just aren't cutting it anymore. After that, we'll explore this awesome direct-to-wall revolution and its biggest perks, before we look ahead to what this all means for the walls of the future. Okay, first things first, let's really get this shift. Walls are not just a backdrop anymore. In today's world, think hospitals, universities, big corporate headquarters, they've become a super important part of how we communicate. They are absolutely essential for branding, for wayfinding, and for shaping company culture. But here's the catch. When your walls are supposed to be communicating your brand, the very last thing you want is for them to look old and shabby right away. And that's exactly what happens with traditional wall finishes. They often fail fast, making even the most exciting brand designs look tired and unprofessional in just a few months. So what is it about these older methods that makes them fail so badly? Well, it really all comes down to the two things we see everywhere: vinyl wraps and wallpaper. And this right here, this is a list of the everyday headaches that drive facility managers crazy. The seams in vinyl, they trap dust and grime, a real hygiene issue. A little bit of humidity, and suddenly you've got bubbling or wrinkling. Carts, chairs, you name it, they create scrapes in busy hallways. Plus, this approach creates so much PVC and adhesive waste. And to top it all off, it often just doesn't work on common surfaces like brick or textured drywall. This quote from the source material just nails it. These aren't just little cosmetic issues. We're talking about operational failures. They totally undermine the investment you made and create constant maintenance problems. For any facilities team trying to avoid risk, this is a huge red flag. So, what's the solution to all these problems? Well, it's a complete shift in technology. We're talking about a direct-to-wall revolution, a totally new way of thinking about our architectural surfaces. At its heart, direct-to-wall printing is this really elegant, adhesive-free process. Just picture these super precise industrial printheads applying tiny micro-droplets of ink right onto the wall. Doesn't matter if it's drywall, concrete, or even brick, and then instantly zapping it with UV light to cure it. And the process itself? It's surprisingly simple. First, a mobile printer comes in and does a digital scan of the wall, mapping out its unique texture. Then, it applies the ink with just incredible precision. And finally, every single pass is instantly cured, which bonds the ink directly to the wall. It's clean, it's precise, and boy, is it fast. And this is the game changer right here. The final graphic isn't some sticker that's just stuck on the wall. It feels like it's actually part of the wall. This gives you a totally seamless, high-res finish that even keeps the natural texture of the surface underneath. It's beautiful. But hey, this isn't just about some cool new technology. It's about real-world advantages that you can actually see and feel. The proof is in a better system, and we can measure it with two really important things: speed and durability. Get ready for this number because it's a total game changer. A typical wall, even a huge 30-foot mural, can usually be printed in under 5 hours. Think about that. That means entire projects can get done overnight or over a weekend with almost zero disruption to a busy workplace. So let's put them head to head because this really tells the story. Where vinyl takes days and is always at risk of peeling, direct-to-wall printing takes just a few hours and it's super abrasion resistant. Where wallpaper shows seams and needs a perfectly smooth surface, this method is perfectly seamless and works on pretty much anything. And maybe most importantly, it gets rid of all that PVC and adhesive waste that comes with traditional installations. And if you look beyond the installation, the long-term value is just massive. Since there are no seams or edges, there's nothing to peel or curl up. The surface is so durable, you can clean it with hospital-grade disinfectants. And when it's time for a change, you just paint right over it. No scraping, no damaging the wall. Now that is future-proofing.
So, where is all this technology taking us? Well, this is all about creating the walls of the future and unlocking all these versatile applications that used to be difficult or even impossible to pull off before.
And the ways you can use this are so diverse. You can see almost half of the applications are for practical stuff, like wayfinding and safety. Just imagine clean, color-coded hospital hallways without a bunch of cluttered signs. But it's also incredibly powerful for high-impact corporate branding, immersive graphics that tell a story, and even elegant donor recognition walls that feel truly permanent.
And that brings us to the idea of scale. Because the whole process is digitally controlled, a brand can roll out a new campaign across its entire portfolio. We're talking dozens of offices, an entire university campus, a national retail chain, and get perfect consistency and predictable results every single time. And that leads us to the last and maybe most important question. With technology like this available, you really don't have to settle for a story that's just stuck on the wall anymore. You can actually make your brand, your culture, your whole story feel like it's truly part of the building itself.